Hi, Tam here. Folks, this is serious. Today, in the year 2017, 16 years into the 21st century, we have some people, a growing number of people, who believe that the earth is flat. That's very serious. There is a growing number of people, apparently they call themselves the Flat Earth Society or something like that, who believe that the earth is flat. Now, I'm sure, or maybe not, but I don't know. Maybe you've been on YouTube, and while you were watching a video, you saw some other videos there about some flat earth conspiracy theory and stuff like that. I see that from time to time. And I never really paid attention. I thought, come on. These conspiracy theorists, they're all over the show, right? Flat earth, that's ridiculous. So I never really paid attention to it. Until I saw some respectable astrophysicists and other scientists, right, doing interviews and debating, disproving this flat earth theory. I couldn't believe it, man. I saw a number of people, but the one that really struck me was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson on 2 different occasions, on YouTube, explaining why the earth is not flat. I like Neil deGrasse Tyson. So for an astrophysicist like that, to actually take the time to explain to some imbeciles out there that the earth is not flat in 2017, then it must be a problem, right? There must be quite a number of idiots out there who believe that. So I went deeper into it a little bit, and then I realized that, hey man, there is a movement that is born from the United States that actually believe that there is a conspiracy theory. And these people are publicly saying that the earth is flat, and they got proof. 4 centuries after Galileo Galilei built a telescope strong enough to observe the surface of the moon and to observe certain planets, right? 4 centuries after Galileo Galilei actually made the observation that the Milky Way is an amalgamation of a multitude of stars, and that's what gives it this cloudy appearance, right? Some people still believe that the earth is flat. 5 centuries, or more than 450 years after Nicola Copernicus. Was it Nicola Copernicus? Yeah, but Copernicus made mathematical calculations and proved the heliocentric theory, meaning the sun is not revolving around the earth. It's the earth and all the other planets of the solar systems that are revolving around the sun. 450 years after that, you've got some ignoramus out there who are still arguing today in 2017 that the earth is flat. 2,000 years after Pythagoras stated that the earth is round and proved it. That was more than 2,000 years ago, man. That was before Christ. That's amazing. That's unbelievable. So I thought, you know what, before I make this video, man, let me do a little bit of research. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I thought, you know, let me not just make a video like that against these people who believe the earth is flat without listening to the arguments first. I mean, let's hear both sides of the story, right? Who knows? Maybe there is something to it. So yesterday, I spent 6 hours of my time. 6 hours of my time watching YouTube videos about the flat earthers. These are the worst 6 hours of my life that I've spent. It's been a complete waste of time, and it was very, very, very painful to watch, man. I mean, at one point I was feeling actually nauseated. Like I really had like some kind of epigastric pain a little bit, and I felt like I was gonna throw up, seriously, because I felt like this is so sick and so ignorant. But let's keep on watching because I want to get to the bottom of that. So I watched a lot of these videos, man. Like I said, 6 hours of clips and videos and stuff. And it's very, very, you know, at first I was a bit disgusted. Then later on, I was amused. It was more like a comedy show. And then at the end, I was actually sad because, you know, a lot of people are believing that stuff apparently. It's something that's very difficult for the mind to understand, right? So anyway, I watched these guys for 6 hours, and I wanted to understand why they're thinking the way they're thinking, right? Basically, what they're saying is the earth is flat. It's a disk. Now, they're taking the map of the earth, the global map of the earth, and they flatten it out, right? So they get like a Gleason map. So they flatten it out on the table and they say, this is how the earth looks. So when you take that map from the North Pole and you flatten it out, and you say, this is the earth, it's flat, then you've got the North Pole in the middle. And then everything is spreading out from there. The North Pole becomes the center of the earth, then things are spread out like that. And then Antarctica, which is at the South Pole, because your map is spread out, becomes the border of your brave new world. So when people argue with them in the most basic of terms, by saying that, okay, so if this earth, our earth, is flat, how come if you go to the end you don't fall over? Then they say, oh, but you know, because the Antarctica forms this ice ring around the earth. It's a huge wall, so it's impossible to go through that. And because of that, there's no way we're ever gonna fall. So whichever direction you go to, in whichever country you are, if you keep going, at the end you're gonna meet this ice ring. That's crazy. Not only that, there is a dome that protects this earth, this flat earth. So there's a dome there. They call it the firmament. Basically, you know, the old theories of the Middle Ages, man, right? So they're reviving that stuff. So it's flat, The Antarctica is around here. Then there's this dome. Apparently it's a glass dome or some other material. And that protects the Earth from, I don't know, right? And in that model, the sun is right here on top. Now we come to the movement of the sun, right? This flat Earth of ours is not rotating around the sun. It's the sun that's moving around the disk. Not like that, but like this. And then when you confront them, you said, okay, but then what about sunset and sunrise? I mean, sunrise from the east, sunset to the west. How do you explain that? I mean, you can see. I mean, this is a disgrace, man. I mean, basic question, man. You know, I mean, in these days and age of telecommunication, and you know, you've got Google Maps on your phone, and you can speak to anybody in the world. I mean, just ask yourself, how come when I call somebody, and I'm in New York City, right, and I call someone in Cape Town, South Africa, right, and it's a nice, beautiful day, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in New York, the person answering me in Cape Town says it's 10 p.m. there and it's dark. And you can actually see that through a video call, FaceTime or whatever. You can actually see that, hey, so my friends in Cape Town, it's dark. I'm in New York, it's daylight, right? I mean, there is a number of experiments that you could do. I mean, you don't have to go through all the mathematical and astrophysical studies. Right? You can just do basic stuff for you to believe that this Earth of ours is actually flat. It means you've never been to school, man. You've never learned about Copernicus, about Pythagoras, about all the scientists of the last 500-600 years, 1,000 years. I mean, you've never gone through history, geography. I mean. Physics. I mean, it's unbelievable. You've never heard of Kepler's rules, right? Kepler's 3 rules or 3 laws. I mean, all that stuff has passed you by. Either you've never heard of it, or your schooling system was so bad that it was never taught to you. That's horrible, Yeah, but what can you do? I don't know what to say. I mean, it's very important to be smart about that stuff. Don't just be gullible to any story people tell you, right? I mean, do your own research. With every statement that people are throwing at you, judge for yourself. And the best way to verify a statement, I think, is to use deductive logic and critical thinking. Yeah. So somebody comes to you and says, this beautiful Earth of ours, no, that's not a globe, man. It's actually a flat disk. And says, okay, but why do you say that? Oh, well, because, but the guy can't explain. And he says, well, I'm not convinced. How do you explain that you have different time zones, 24 different time zones? How do you explain that? What about the glass firmament that covers the disk? How did you come up with that? Did you see it? If the North Pole is in the center, then how come the North Pole is so cold? I mean, you see, so you have to apply deductive logic, critical thinking, and ask yourself some questions, right? If I say 1 + 1 = 2, and you say 1 + 1 = 3, and I'm going to prove it to you, The 1 + 1 = 2 thing is a conspiracy theory. It's complete BS. It's what the government wants you to think. Then I'll say, okay, prove it to me. And then you can't prove anything apart from maybe showing me some holy scriptures from your religion that says, you see, it's written here, 1 + 1 = 3. These are the words of my God. Then I say, come on. Come on. I'm not going to buy that, you know. So sometimes, right, what I'm trying to say is you just have to forget about your holy scriptures or holy book or religious whatever that you're reading and be sensible, right? If I'm telling you that there's evidence that erosions in certain parts of the world can easily be dated to 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, 100, 200,000 years. And you come and you say, no, the earth is only 4,000 years old. I said, okay, prove it, because I'm giving you my erosion model and I'm showing you that these canyons here are at least 10,000 years old. Prove that, you know, it cannot be more than 4,000 years old. And you say, no, it's written in my book there, you know, the holy book. I mean, this stuff would be funny if it wasn't for the fact that real scientists over the centuries have been persecuted, even tortured, and even killed by the church. In the case of Europe, the Christian church. Giordano Bruno, the Italian scientist, was burned at the stake for following the Copernican model of the sun, of the earth revolving around the sun. I mean, we have to evolve as human beings, right? And you need to be better people every single day. Intellectually better as well. So we can't regress and go 500 years plus back into believing that the earth is flat, fixed, and everything is revolving around us. Come on, man, that's a huge leap in the past, man. I mean, that's crazy, right? We have to move forward. I mean, if you're stuck into that model about the flat earth, the disk and the glass dome and everything, the sun is revolving around that disk. Come on, man. How are you even going to comprehend that our solar system, the sun and all its planets, are actually revolving around the center in the Milky Way, right? We are revolving around the sun, but the sun, with all the planets around in the solar system, right? The entire solar system is revolving around a nucleus in the Milky Way. And the solar system moves at a speed of 800,000 kilometers per hour. Actually, I think it's 820,000 kilometers per hour. How are you going to even comprehend something like that if you're still stuck at the flat disk, fixed there in space? Huh? I mean, that's completely beyond you if you cannot even move from the flat earth, man. I mean, come on, right? Be better than that. You have to be better, right? You have to strive to be better. Educate yourself. Learn. Study. There's no excuse. Anyway, so I'm going to close by saying this. To all those ignoramai out there, I mean ignoramus, ignoramuses? I'm not sure. I mean, fungus, fungi. Well, ignorami, right? So all those ignorami out there. Do yourself a favor. Educate yourself. Read with critical thinking, deductive logic. Be a better person. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to become a better person as well. I'm not an astronomist, I'm a doctor, but I was taught as a kid the basics of geography and astronomy, right? It's a bit like saying, what's the percentage of oxygen in the atmosphere? You don't need to be an astronomist to know that, right? Everybody knows that. So yeah, please be better. Improve yourself. I mean, it's not too late, right? Make a public statement. Say that you've read about the matter and you now understand your mistakes and you've corrected yourself and you've come to the conclusion that the earth is in fact not flat, not a disc, but a globe, a sphere, slightly oblong at the edges, slightly obloid at the edges, but don't worry about that for now. It might be too much for you right now. And that the movement of the solar system is not geocentric, but heliocentric. If you do that, I will have so much respect for you. Cheers.